Hi there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to a new Football Talks draft, mock draft. This is the third, I believe. I actually did make a third one, but I decided I didn't like how it turned out, especially when I realized part of the latter half of it was eerily similar to my second one. But so we're gonna try and make this a bit more different. Anyway, let's get started. Of course, same disclaimer as before. I ain't no professional football analyst or anything like that. This is only for fun, so if I picked a player you don't like, well, I wouldn't say I'm sorry, but that's just too bad. Anyway, let's get right into it. First pick of the day, Cleveland Browns. I've been hearing people say that they may go for Trubisky, but that's honestly a complete Browns move. To go for a quarterback when there is a clear generational talent that you can have, that you can completely build your team around and revolutionize your, how do I put it? Basically, they're a horrible team, that's what they'll be forever identified as. And I know they want to hit it with a quarterback because that's who you want to build it around, but you know what? This isn't a typical draft where you'll have a quarterback who you could just plug in and within a short amount of time they can start trying to pay dividends. It's not like that. This is a more unique, unorthodox draft, so you have to take Garrett. If they pick Trubisky, I'm already writing them off for another horrendous season. Anyway, next up on the list, the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to have them go defensive line, take Jonathan Allen. I just can't see them going for... I can't see them not go for a defensive lineman. Maybe if they wanted to get Trubisky, I would think they'd trade down a couple times. Maybe first you trade with, say, the Jaguars, and then you could trade down again to where, like, with the Panthers or something. Around, if you can get to the near double-digit areas, I can see that being a good area to get Trubisky, especially if it's just above Cleveland. But anyway, next up, the Chicago Bears. I'm gonna have them go Jamal Adams out of LSU. They need safety help, obviously. Their defense can at least be viable, which, you know, all they have is a nice enough run game and okay linebacking core. That's where they need help. Everywhere else. Next up, Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm gonna have them go tight end. Take O.J. Howard from Alabama. Next up, the Tennessee Titans. The Titans could use help with corner. I think they're actually going to go a bit different. They're going to go take a linebacker, Reuben Foster. I know it's a weird pick, but hey, let's try to be a little different here. I've already had them take Marshon Lattimore so much, or Mike Williams. I think in my second mock draft I had them take Mike Williams. I believe I did. But yeah, it's just so common. Anyway, next up, the New York Jets. Who could use help with the corner? Guess what? Speaking of Lattimore, guess what? Guess where he's going? He's going to New York to feel the pain, because Jets stands for just end the suffering. It's not endure. We're not at that point anymore. It's just end the suffering. That's what it is now. Next up, San Diego Superchargers, or excuse me, the LA Chargers. They're not super anymore. They lost that when they moved, so they're going to go defensive line, help out. They're going to help out Joey Bosa even more. That's going to be a scary front seven. They need to try and fill up those seats in that very small, very cramped football stadium. Anyway, next up, the Carolina Panthers. Guess who's dropped this far? Leonard Fournette. I had him trade up to get him, but here's one. They didn't have to do anything. It just landed there. But, yeah, it's surprising, I know. So now they get him again. This is the second time they've gotten him in my mock drafts. The first time was a trade with the Chicago Bears just to cuck the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'll try not to use that word again. I know. I'm sorry. Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals. Benghazi. I have the Bengals going for a defensive lineman, and they're going to take Hassan Reddick. They're not going to take the other guy. Not this time. Address the front seven, help out Geno Atkins. But next up, Buffalo Bills. Oh, I said Chicago. They're going to get Malik Hooker, safety. Address the safety position, which they could use help in. Next up, the New Orleans Saints. Now, given where they're at, they're in a weird spot. I'm going to have them take a linebacker as well. Take Jabril Peppers out of Michigan. And there you have it. They still have plenty of more issues, but as long as they draft defense, there's hope for them yet. Now, here's where things get interesting. Cleveland Browns, they wanted to get Trubisky. They're going to have Trubisky, because here he is at number 12. There you go, GG. His stock is rising up much more above Deshaun Watson. Honestly, his comparison's been weird. Give me just a second. Okay, I'm back. And, okay, the comparison was, here's how things are going. Deshaun Kaiser is being compared to E.J. Manuel. Deshaun Watson is being compared to, damn, now I forgot. Just one more sec. Okay, let's try that again. Deshaun Kaiser being compared to E.J. Manuel. Deshaun Watson's being compared to Alex Smith. Patrick Mahomes being compared to Brett Favre. And Trubisky is being compared to Andy Dalton. I don't know if that's a comparison you really want, exactly. Anyway, next up, the Arizona Cardinals could use help with linebacker, quarterback, and cornerback. I'm gonna have them go corner, take Marlon Humphrey out of Alabama, get some good, really good defensive players from the Crimson Tide. Really good for them. And anyway, next up we have the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm gonna have them take Taco Charlton from Michigan. Add some more pressure. They need it. They need to address their defense, because if they want to shut down Dallas, they need to do what New York did, kind of, except via the draft. Next up, the Chicago. I keep thinking Chicago or something. The Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts are what I consider a wreck, and they're gonna just address the offense again, because that's all they love to do. They're gonna take Dalvin Cook, running back out of Florida State. I don't think it's a bright idea, but I want to believe, when we do my final mock draft, is how I actually believe the draft will go. I don't think they're going to go offense. Anyway, next up, the Baltimore Ravens. They will also take a linebacker, Zach Cunningham, Vanderbilt. Expect a lot of linebackers to go in this draft. Trust me, this is I think in this mock draft, you're gonna see a lot of them fly off the first round. Now next, the Washington Football Team. Washington Football Team also needs a linebacker, and that's where they're going to go, actually. Take Jared Davis from Florida. Have at that. That's good for them. Next up, the Tennessee Titans. Now the Titans, they still need a cornerback and a wide receiver. I think for this one, they're going to go address the wide receiver position, because it's perfect. This is a really good spot to get him, Mike Williams out of Clemson. I seem to always have Mike Williams or Marshon Lattimore, and I guess I can't keep them both out of this, because I feel like at least one of them guaranteed is going to go to the Titans in either draft spot. Now next up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay, they're going to take Malik McDowell from Michigan State. Add some pressure. I think I've had him go here many times, actually, which is actually scary. Anyway, next up, the Denver Broncos. What is Elway thinking? I think for this one, he is also going to go offensive line. They're going to take Cam Robinson out of Alabama. In this one, he goes up a lot earlier than the others. You might question it, considering some will say Ramczyk is better, Bowles is better, but this one's also for John, I guess. Now here's where things get interesting. I am calling for a trade. And it is the Houston Texans trading up with Bob Quinn and the Detroit Lions. So the Lions and the Texans will switch spots. I can't go into details as what they'll give, but they want a quarterback, and they're going to get one. But which one, you ask? Patrick Mahomes out of Texas Tech. This is the perfect quarterback for Bill O'Brien's offensive schemes. This is what people say. He is a favorite to go here if he can make it down there. But here's a fun fact: if you like baseball, this is only for the older people to get. But if you ever heard of a pitcher for the Minnesota Twins called Patrick Mahomes or Pat Mahomes? This is his son. This is Patrick Mahomes II is the son of the pitcher for the Minnesota Twins from a long time ago. So yeah, that's a little fun fact of the day. Anyway, the Lions will pick where the Texans were. So next up are the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are going to go defensive or linebacker and take Ryan Anderson from Alabama. Good signing for them. Honestly, I think I went offensive line and tight end in the first two, so I think this is a little different. Take defense, make that defense better. Even it was okay last season, now it'll be a little bit better. Next up, the New York Giants. They're going to address the offense and take Ryan Ramczyk out of Wisconsin. Protect Eli Manning. Also strengthen the run game if they can get a running back later on. But yeah. Next up, the Oakland Raiders. Addressing the cornerback position, taking Sidney Jones from Washington. Their cornerback section has been lacking ever since Charles Woodson left and retired. So this is a perfect way to try and give it a jump start, give it some help. Because this next season for them is going to be way more challenging compared to last season, because now they're playing against the pros, against the better teams. Now next up, the Detroit Lions are now picking at 25 since they traded with the Texans. And with this one, I have them getting TJ Watt out of Wisconsin. All those linebackers. How many is that? We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 linebackers go off this point. We're only at pick number 25. Take TJ Watt. Detroit's not that far from Wisconsin. He should feel right at home here. I think it's going to be. I think whoever gets TJ Watt has a great linebacker in the making. I don't know if I'm as revolutionary as JJ Watt, but I think you still have a solid linebacker out here. Next, the Seattle Seahawks. I have them going offensive line, taking Garrett Bowles out of Utah. Protect Russell Wilson. He needs help because honestly, it's at this point the Legion of Boom will slightly fade, maybe, but in return the offense is going to be humming, especially if they can have a solid run game, which we shall see. Eddie Lacy is going to be a bit of an interesting player to watch this season. Now next up, the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to have them go defensive line, take Caleb Brantley, a defensive tackle. I think I had him go here before, not sure. Take Caleb Brantley, strengthen that defensive line. Honestly, they're also in a weird spot. They can go almost anywhere they want. It'd be just fine. Next up, Dallas Cowboys. Now, I'm not going to make them be stupid and take an offensive piece or whatever. They are not that dumb. I'm going to have them take Derek Barnett, defensive lineman out of Tennessee. Actually add some pressure on the quarterback because they couldn't pressure Aaron Rodgers on that last game in their final game last year, and I think they're going to do this. And speaking of Aaron Rodgers, his Green Bay Packers are next up, and I'm going to have them go for a linebacker, Alex Anzalone. I'm trying to see if I can pronounce that right. Take a chance on a linebacker. This guy may be a potential second-round pick. They're going to go take him a bit earlier, secure him now. But anyway, next up, Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to have them go for Josh Jones out of North Carolina State. Secondary needs help. I've been saying this for a while for them, but anyway, yes. Now, Atlanta's in a weird spot. I'm going to have them take a tight end. Considering they have very few position needs, I would add corner to that list. But, you know, they just recently re-signed a corner for 5 years. I forget how much of the money was worth. You're going to take a tight end, David Njoku, out of Miami. This guy is ranked 12 on the list, but honestly, he could go anywhere. He is a good tight end, but he could go anywhere on this list, and I don't think most analysts will question it. Now, to close things off, we're going to have the New Orleans Saints take we're going to have them take a safety, Budda Baker, out of Washington, and I think that'll do it for this mock draft. Let's recap everything before we go. Myles Garrett to the Browns, Jonathan Allen to the San Francisco 49ers, Jamal Adams to the Bears, O.J. Howard to the Jaguars, Reuben Foster to the Titans, Marshon Lattimore to the Jets, Solomon Thomas to the Chargers, Leonard Fournette to the Panthers, no trade this time. Hassan Reddick to the Bengals, Malik Hooper to the Bills, Jabril Peppers to the Saints, Mitchell Trubisky to the Browns, Marlon Humphrey to the Cardinals, Taco Charlton to the Eagles, Dalvin Cook to the Colts, Zach Cunningham to the Ravens, Jared Davis to the Washington football team, Mike Williams to the Titans, Malik McDowell to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Cam Robinson to the Denver Broncos, TJ Watt to the Lions. Oh, actually, excuse me. They traded, so Patrick Mahomes, it's taken by the Texans with the 21st pick. Ryan Anderson to the Dolphins, Ryan Ramczyk to the Giants, Sidney Jones to the Raiders, and TJ Watt taken with the 25th pick with the Lions. Garrett Bowles to the Seahawks, Caleb Brantley to the Chiefs, Derek Barnett to the Cowboys, Alex Anzalone to the Green Bay Packers, Josh Jones to the Steelers, David Njoku to the Falcons, and Budda Baker to the Saints. Anyway, I think that'll do it. Feel free to share what you guys think about the draft, or about this mock draft. Feel free to check my first 2 mock drafts. The 4th and final mock draft will come out sometime at the end of the week. Just before the draft, because I believe the draft is only, let's see, yeah, about 11 days. I want to say 11 days from now. I think it's about 11 days from now, so yeah, get excited for that. This next one will come out before the end, either at the end of the week or the start of next week, so yeah, I will see you guys in another video.